Soul Lounge Primetime on a Monday evening. DJ Leroy and the Night Watchman back again, and we are so pleased to have our very good friend Jacqueline Orange of Taste Harlem. Jackie, welcome to the Soul Lounge Primetime.
I've known Jackie forever.
Forever, ever?
Forever, ever. Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, it's great to have you. So, first of all, let's talk a little bit about Taste Harlem and what you've been doing as an entrepreneur and a guide to this wonderful community that we live in.
Okay, well, Taste Harlem, as you know, is a food and cultural tour in Harlem. But we do more than just talk about food. It is unique tours of Harlem where we expose people to Harlem through the food, art, and music. And I figured through those elements, you learn more about the people that live here or have lived here in the past.
So this month, you have a special lineup of events for Harlem Pride Month.
Yes, we do.
Is this the first time?
First time ever.
Wow. Okay.
The reason for that is I was at a NYC and Company event, their annual meeting, and the whole conversation was about Pride. The 50th,
Interesting. The Stonewall, that's right. Okay.
Exactly. It's the 50th anniversary, and it's a World Pride celebration, as well as the 50th anniversary of Stonewall.
Gotcha.
And so I figured I need to do something at Taste Harlem. And it had been in my mind to start a Harlem Renaissance tour under Taste Harlem. Since why not? Everybody comes to Harlem for the Renaissance, and we can incorporate that conversation while we eat our way through Harlem. Okay. Meanwhile, I was at another community event.
Okay.
A flea market, and I met Ulysses Williams as well as Richard Pulitzer. And
back up for a second. Where was this? Was this in Harlem?
In Harlem, yes, on 118th Street, the old church. It used to be St. Thomas Church.
Yes. Oh my God.
Right off St. Nicholas there, and we just began a conversation that just went so many different ways. And there was the birth of Pride in the Harlem Renaissance tours.
Wow.
Vogue dance classes, and a drag brunch.
Wow.
All offered through tasteharlem.com.
Nice. Well. Okay. So, what do you expect in terms of has there been some, some interest piling up for this?
There has. Well, for one, when you think about the Harlem Renaissance, a lot of people do not know the depths of the Harlem Renaissance. You have to read a little bit between the lines, or, maybe not between the lines. Many of the players were LGBTQ.
Correct. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. So we thought, why not tell the story?
Celebrate.
Yes.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Celebrate them. And they're wonderful things that they provided in Harlem. The house of Langston Hughes is on 127th Street. Yes. And think about this, Vogue dancing, that started in Harlem.
Yes.
And Willie Ninja was a person that made it very famous. I believe he worked with Madonna. He worked with Madonna in doing that. And so there's so many things to talk about with that. As you walk through the streets of Harlem, there's not one block you could walk on in Harlem without a story. There's a story to tell.
Very, very true. So Jacqueline, now, as I said before, we've known each other for a while. As a matter of fact, I do believe, and Night Watchman, correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the day with Taste Harlem Tours, I remember you visiting the studio with your partner at that time, and that was Miss Jacqueline Archer.
Yes, we did that under another tour company I started together with Jacqueline Archer, was Art Crawl Harlem.
Oh, wow.
And we visited art galleries in Harlem.
Yeah, totally missed
that. Was exciting.
Yes, it really was. So now tell me about this particular well, it's not really a new baby because you've been doing it for a while now, right? But how does this one kind of like differ, and some of the things that you've been able to accomplish in the years that you've had it going?
Well, I must say, working with Art Crawl Harlem, it really gave me my legs to do Taste Harlem food and cultural tours. Believe it or not, which many people do not realize, that I started Taste Harlem food and cultural tours before Art Crawl Harlem.
Really?
What?
I did. A lot of people don't realize that because they know me for doing Art Crawl Harlem. But I had paused it, put it on the back burner, and we got caught up in the visual arts world of Harlem. But I had to come back because some other people were trying to start food tours in Harlem. And I said, hold on.
Right, that's
Here
right.
I
You
am.
do this already.
Right.
And since my URL had been out there for a while, and I've been doing it for a while, and most people, I know most of the community, and that's what Art Crawl allowed for, me getting to know the community, embracing this community, and really educating myself more in this area. And I think I do a pretty good Taste Harlem food and cultural tours. You could check out TripAdvisor, and I think they'll comply.
Some AAA ratings, yeah.
Well,
How about 5-star ratings?
all right.
Ooh,
Yes,
very
absolutely.
nice, very nice. And as you know, on the last segment that we had there, people were getting on me because I said BX. Now I do happen to know, Miss Orange, that you are not a native Harlemite, but we do love you because I believe that the home where you're from is the birthplace of house. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Oh Lord! So we
Chi-Town.
Chi-Town in the house.
Why are you the Harlem police tonight? Anyway, I mean, basically, you arrested yourself.
Yes,
You
I
know,
did. Yes, I did.
Anybody who comes and is a good citizen
Yes.
and puts their time and,
And she
effort
has
into
been.
helping this community is somebody who's a Harlemite.
She's yeah.
Because a lot of those names we knew came here from somewhere else. So so
That's true.
that's the history of Harlem. Now I happen to have been born here, but
One of the few.
I'm proud to say my grandmother moved to Harlem my great grandmother moved to Harlem in 1924. So we're actually coming up on, in a few years, a family centennial in Harlem.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
In fact,
impressive.
it was really, when my dad passed, we went through some papers, and I actually have a copy of her actual mortgage document for buying property in 1924 here in Harlem.
Incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. You need to really have that preserved, man.
Yeah, I do. I do. Believe me.
Wow. Well. Okay. So now, he is okay. I was just checking Ulysses. So do tell us about your background too. You a native Harlemite, or are you going to claim that or not?
I'm actually originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
Say that one more time.
I'm originally from Jersey City.
Okay,
New Jersey,
okay.
but always dreamed of living in Harlem. I remember the first time my uncle drove me down 125th Street, and I was just drawn to it, the energy on that street. And I always dreamed of being here. And so now, I've been here for about 6 years.
Nice.
Living out my dream.
Great.
And understand also, Ulysses, you were coming. I remember at one point you were working for a construction firm too, huh?
I am, or I was, and recently I started my own business consulting company within the construction industry, assisting small MWBEs. Yeah.
Okay, very good, man. So, I definitely have to find out about this, the brunch.
There you go.
So tell about the brunch.
So the brunch is it's this Sunday, June 23rd. It's going to be at Lenox Sapphire, right on the corner of
right on the corner.
127th and Lenox Avenue.
Night Watchman, do we know that spot?
We do know Lenox Sapphire.
Okay.
Matter of fact, Jackie is here because I was at Lenox Sapphire last week and ran into her there.
Oh.
And we talked and we said we have to have her on the show.
Wow, Night Watchman.
It's a circle of life.
Yes.
So this Sunday at 1 o'clock is where food meets fun. It's going to be hosted by Harmonica Sunbeam, infamous drag queen. She's been around for like over 20 years.
Wow.
She's beloved internationally, and we look forward to it. So we have one seating at 1 p.m., and we want everyone to come down.
All right.
Wow. Okay, so also now the Vogue stuff. Give me a description of the Vogue.
So recently, me and Jackie had
And must you have rhythm?
You don't necessarily
not at
need any
all.
rhythm. You need style.
That's it.
Okay.
Good comeback. Okay.
Style, But we went to a Vogue workshop for the first time, me and her together,
Really?
about a month ago, to check out Cesar Valentino, who's the workshop instructor. And it's extraordinary. He had about 30 people in this class, and you just see he starts off with, stretching, limbering you up. And you see the participants just go from a little bit of shyness to like just runway models, and it's fun. The music is hot, and the instructor is he's amazing.
So I need to ask this question. So NYC and Company says that the number 3 destination for all international tourism is Harlem.
That's absolutely true.
Okay. So what would you say as a tour company? What would you say? Would you say more international tourism or more domestic tourism? Are the folks who attend?
It is more international,
Okay.
but it's balancing out in the last year. I've seen a drastic increase in domestic tourism coming to New York City, especially into Harlem. And in my tours, I'm seeing an increase in locals, people from Lower Manhattan, Long Island, and New Jersey.
Wow.
Which I love
Wow.
because
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
are repeaters.
That's right.
They'll buy gift certificates to send others. As a matter of fact, Saturday, I had a group, and they were using gift certificates that were gifted to them.
Very nice. Very
Why
nice.
not?
Okay. So if you had to then, so you gave me that kind of breakdown in terms of where they come from in the local area. Internationally, where do they typically hail from, would you say?
I would say a large portion, of course, Canada, because people from Canada can drive
Come
down
here, exactly.
very easily. And believe it or not, we have a huge proportion of Australians.
Interesting.
Australians is
Interesting.
my largest customer. That's the biggest group that comes to Harlem.
Wow.
Nice.
It's from Australia.
Very nice.
Probably French would be a close third. Yes.
Night Watchman, did you have something? You look like you were poised.
No, I was just listening. I'm interested that Australian. I never would have.
Yeah, me neither.
Guessed that.
Because normally I found quite a number of them. They love to go to South Asia, like Bali and Japan and places like that. But coming to the States, yeah.
And they love Harlem. Many of them, it's their first time to New York City, and they come to Harlem. I'm always impressed. They are easygoing. They love to eat. They really have a good time wherever they go, the Australians. I had a little girl on tour one day. She was about 10. She ate. I was really surprised because she was a little girl. She ate. She listened. She had questions for me, and she was with her parents. She was wonderful.
Nice.
And
nice.
at the end of the day, she's just hung out with me in the front while I'm walking along. And I said, well, what was your favorite time since you've been in New York? She said, this tour.
Wow.
Really?
Oh.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, and we have a call coming in, and I believe that call is Mr. Michael Henry Adams, who is Harlem historian, and
Soul Lounge
you've
Primetime.
got an activity planned with him as well. correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's
Lounge
leading the
Primetime.
Pride in Harlem Renaissance tours.
Michael Henry Adams. Hold on one second. Okay.
All right, folks, hold on. We are about to bring him on the line. Michael Henry Adams, can you hear us?
I can indeed.
Great. Welcome to Soul Lounge Primetime Show. You're here with DJ Leroy, the Night Watchman. Jacqueline Orange is here. Ulysses Williams, and you. So how are you this evening?
I'm very well. Thank you so much.
So I understand you are doing some activities with Taste Harlem for Harlem Pride Month, correct?
Yes, I'm showing people, what I refer to as Homo Harlem in the book that I'm writing. And it is about all of these incredible people who really were some of the best and the brightest people who ever lived and contributed to all of the things which you think of as making Harlem's artist, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And moreover, it's also a part of what the point of my book is to show how there have been people in history who were not necessarily gay or lesbian, but who had same-sex relationships nonetheless, and that didn't make them any less in terms of being heterosexual sex symbols even.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Michael, you mentioned that you're working on this book. Do tell the audience in terms of some of your previous books.
I did a book, an interior design book called Style and Grace, African Americans at Home.
Okay.
And that was the first book ever published that dealt with African Americans and interior design exclusively. And then I did a book, my greatest book, Harlem Lost and Found, an architectural and social history, 1765 to 1915, but with an epilogue that brought Harlem up to the present day, which was 2000 and 2001. And my book came out, just before 9/11.
Wow.
So there I was on CBS Sunday morning on the day before 9/11, and it was as if I never was on TV ever.
Yes, I do remember that. Oh.
Michael, how long have you been in Harlem?
I've been here since 1985,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to tell people that, like all the best people who've ever lived in Harlem, whether it's Langston Hughes or Ella Fitzgerald, that we all come from someplace else.
We've been having this conversation.
So you've been listening, Michael, huh?
And the thing that makes us the best, you see, is that we come here because we know that this is the place. And unlike the people who just are born here and take it for granted, we know there's no other place as remarkable as New York, and there's no other place, if you're African American, that is like Harlem.
Well said, Michael. Well said. So, Night Watchman, you hear that?
Yes, I heard it.
Just because you're born here does not mean, okay, that you got it all going on.
No, but I do actually. But the thing is like everything else, you have to earn it by contributing, by being here.
Okay,
and that's really what it's all about.
Yes, it is.
And so whether you got here 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago, or lifetime, it's all about how you respond and how you act as a community citizen. Certainly, Michael, we know of your work, and you've been very, very diligent in many respects in terms of sharing your knowledge and your passions here in the community.
Well, my big passion in the community is trying to keep the buildings that represent our unique history and heritage from being destroyed. And day by day, bit by bit, whole blocks are being wiped out to create more condominium buildings for more white people. And I have nothing against white people. Some of my best friends are white people. But they already have so much. And why must they have our Harlem too? It just doesn't seem right. And the reality is that, the people who are building these condominiums, they're not they don't necessarily have anything against black people. It's just that they realize that white people have more money. And that's something that needs to change in America as well, is that this inequality in terms of wealth must end because it is unsustainable. In France, they had a revolution. In Russia, they had a revolution. Something's got to give. We can't have all the money in the hands of so few people and to have so many people who have nothing. But anyhow, I'm off topic. I'm so
well, actually, you're not off topic. You know, there's been a theme that certainly we have nurtured here on our show in terms of highlighting the value of the culture here and the community, and understanding that there are economic drivers to everything. But I think what makes Harlem unique is that we've got some of these other aspects that counterbalance it, and still have to work hard to do it. But we still have a thriving community. We have culture. We have people such as yourself, such as Jackie, such as number of our guests on our show that are committed to preserving the culture that's been here and fostering a new culture going forward that's based on that. And I think that's important to us because it's not just about the history. It's about our continuing to have a living, thriving culture here. And whether that's the culture of food, whether it's the culture of architecture, culture of storytelling, art, drama, music, all these things, we want to make sure that Harlem preserves those things as well as preserves it for the people who actually live here and make those things work.
Yeah.
Well, if I may, then I'd like to just urge your audience, everyone, please go to your computers, go to your phones, contact the Landmarks Preservation Commission. We've got this church on Madison Avenue at 129th Street, All Saints Roman Catholic Church.
Wow.
It is one of the most spectacular churches in the country, in the world. And the Archdiocese of New York, because they're closing it and are about to sell it, they want to take all the windows and all of the religious iconography, all the statues, all of the decorations, the organ, the altar, all the things that make this place so special, and take them out. And that, in my ways, is as atrocious as if they were to do the same thing at St. Patrick's. And in fact, this building was designed by the same architect, James Renwick, who designed St. Patrick's. And that wouldn't happen if this were downtown. What has already happened in Harlem is that St. Thomas the Apostle Church in Harlem was cut in half and the two side altars taken to make St. Patrick's more beautiful. So where do these people get off stealing from our churches for their churches? It's like the Vandals and the Goths overrunning Rome in ancient times. It's like colonialism all over again.
So Michael, I definitely hear you. So that's why I won't even ask your thoughts about the Renaissance Ballroom. But on that note, I'm sure that folks are going to really, really benefit from really hearing your historic perspective on the architecture, which is literally one of the reasons why people come uptown. It's one of the reasons, but there's also this incredible history. I mean, imagine that you have a time when, from Langston Hughes to Countee Cullen to Wallace Thurman, all of the best writers, all of the best singers, people like Carol Boyd, people like Ethel Waters, all of these people were gay. People like Josephine Baker. And the thing that's fascinating, of course, with the young people, they talk about gender fluidity. And Josephine Baker and her several husbands, but then her women that she had as well, it's just amazing. What it shows is that, what's so wonderful about looking back in history and what we hunger for is we want to see ourselves. We want to see where is our place in the big picture of American history. And in the past, we've been starved of being able to look at ourselves and our impact and our contribution to Harlem and our contribution to American history. But if you talk about Langston Hughes and his work, or James Baldwin, or Lorraine Hansberry, all of these people, they defined the American canon of literature. And
the fact that they are LGBTQ XYZ is something that many people still do not even realize, and many of those people are LGBTQ people themselves who should know that just as with black people, black LGBTQ people have nothing to be ashamed of, because there have been no people who have done so much, and, mind you, have done so much despite such obstacles that we've had to overcome.
Right, and with little and no recognition many times. So we only have a few minutes left, so Jackie, I want you to recap for us some of the events that are coming up and let people know where they can get more information.
Well, to hear more from Michael Henry Adams, please join a Pride in Harlem Renaissance tour. We did our first tour on Friday, and we have more dates coming up.
Oh, you already had a tour?
We've had a tour,
okay,
yes.
Okay.
And we have another tour scheduled for this Saturday. We also have a Vogue dance class that's scheduled for Saturday the 22nd, as well as Monday the 24th. And we have the Pride in Harlem drag brunch on Sunday with Harmonica Sunbeam. You can purchase tickets by going to www.tasteharlem.com. And that is taste like the food tastes so good. Tasteharlem.com. Everyone knows that you haven't truly experienced New York until you taste Harlem.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Jackie Orange. Thank you, Ulysses Williams. Thank you, Michael Henry Adams.
Yes.
Thank you, Nicole King, for being here earlier. And thank you, DJ Leroy. I don't know why I'm thanking you, but, but you were here in the studio with everybody else. So.
And why not?
We have fun.
Good night, many thanks.
Yes, yes. So DJ Soul Vatin is coming up with the Harlem Dance Party. Keep it locked to WHCR 90.3 FM, and we'll see you next week.